Hello everyone, hope that you're well. I have got a clip from the first On The Ball podcast of the new season that is going to be with you right after I've stopped talking, so I hope you enjoy that. It's the first time we've had Dan Brigham on the podcast. He's going to be part of the crew this season. That's exciting, having sort of snaffled him after he left Norwich City from all those lovely programmes. Ben Mouncer as well with Dan and myself. We've also got George Ellick from the Not the Top 20 podcast talking about the Championship, so it's ideal watch in terms of catching up with what's been happening in the Championship. That's in the main podcast, which you can find via a link in the description. It's not in this clip. This clip is just us talking about Jamal Lewis and his move to Newcastle, which was about to happen as we recorded, knowing, of course, it was actually going to happen. So make sure you clock that. So the podcast is available on all the normal podcast players, as usual, for free. You just need to subscribe and find it on whatever your podcast player is. So go for it. This is just a clip, basically, of some of the stuff we spoke about in episode 1. We're not quite at the point where we're going to put the full podcast up on here, but you never know, we might do it at some point in the future. Keep an eye out on whichever platform this is you're watching, because I'll try and do some live video content each week and other stuff as well. So keep the comments, suggestions, questions, opinions, whatever you want, keep them coming, because I certainly try and read as many of them as possible, if not all of them. Also worth noting, today's been a really exciting day for The Athletic. We've hit 1 million subscribers globally, which is mental. So if you do subscribe, thank you so much for doing that. And I hope you're enjoying the Norwich City content that is, of course, just a small portion of a sporting beast that is The Athletic now. I'm very proud of what we put together every day. And also, if what I do suggest you do is go and download the app, because the Athletic app has now got a sort of breaking news service where we cover any news, and that's all the clubs, all the leagues we cover. But of course, my job is to cover that for Norwich City. So if you want to follow the key news that's going on around the club, hopefully some insight that may well be the first place you see it, because it won't be anywhere else. And I don't mean just from me, I mean from anyone. Get yourself on the Athletic app, because A, it's a brilliant app, and B, we'll be bringing you all sorts of Norwich City news, as well as, of course, the news from the football world, NFL, NBA. Yeah, you know the drill. It's all there. Anyway, my phone is going off, which isn't very helpful. I'm going to cut my losses, and I'm going to leave you with this section of the On The Ball podcast with myself, Dan, and Ben Mouncer. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon. The big news is basically Jamal Lewis. Norwich have gone the whole closed season without selling anyone. In fact, they had to ostracise 3 from the first team group just to reduce squad numbers. But as it turns out, we are going to have a sale. It's going to be Jamal Lewis. He's going to head to Newcastle United. It's going to be for a fee. And I mean, I hate the semantics of this, as I've tweeted in the last few days, but effectively the fee is basically roughly 15 million quid. There's a couple of £1 million worth of add-ons that Norwich could earn. There's also a sell-on clause, although I'm not quite sure how much that is, and also where Jamal might end up. But thoughts, gentlemen, on this? I mean, Norwich are well covered for starters, and I think it's quite a good move for this for Jamal, Ben.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Actually, Michael, I think it's important to get those numbers exactly right, just so Liverpool fans are aware of the exact figure.
Don't bring them into it. Don't.
I wasn't going to, actually.
I had a whole weekend just of notifications of people talking about it and basically arguing. It was
of all the people to bring that up, I'm surprised it was you, Ben.
Yeah. No, that's the last you'll hear of it from me. No, whatever the final figure is, and we'll leave that open. It is a figure that I think is an excellent deal for Norwich City, and in a way, it kind of suits all parties. It's a chance for Jamal Lewis to obviously jump straight back into the Premier League. But from Norwich's point of view, it's kind of a vindication for their approach of the last few years. And here you've got a player who signed into our academy in 2014, and a category 1 academy that was able to sort of transition him from a winger into a defender, and a position he has excelled at. He then got an opportunity in the first team, which he grasped brilliantly, and now we're making a chunk of money on him, and he's kind of got the opportunity that he probably deserves to have another stab at the Premier League. So I think certainly from Norwich City's point of view, this is a really good deal without kind of getting into the detail of the finances. The ballpark figure that is being reported for me is a good price, especially in a COVID transfer window.
And Norwich's second biggest sale behind James Maddison. So I think, all said and done, all complete profit, given that he was an academy product in the end after they nabbed him from Luton. 100 first team appearances for Norwich, and therefore in total in his senior career. So it's not many, but it's a good chunk. Only a couple of goals, not that many assists for a player who's supposed to be fundamental to Norwich's attacking shape. Dan, and I suppose you could argue, actually was second choice to Sam Byram at left back for a lot of last season until Sam got injured again. So it's not taking away anything from Jamal as a person. He's a great lad, by the way. Also his talents. Wasn't exactly a straightforward season for him last season.
No, I'm maybe in the minority here, but I thought it was quite unfortunate to lose his place to Sam Byram. And, when Byram came in, he put in some excellent performances, but I thought he was probably our most consistent defender last season, Jamal Lewis. I'd say he made fewer mistakes than anyone across that back line, maybe apart from Grant Hanley, but then he barely sort of played last season. I thought he was consistently good. I thought he was defensively, he matured perhaps more than his right back partner, Max Aarons. I thought Jamal Lewis was probably the better defender there still. So it's quite interesting, actually. As Ben mentioned, he came into this club as a winger, but it's probably that side of his game that's probably been letting him down perhaps a little bit more. As Max Aarons, as we saw for England the 21s the other day, is an excellent attacking right back and got plenty of assists in the Championship season. Whereas Jamal Lewis has struggled a little bit with that as well. And as a winger, as a former winger, you kind of expect a little bit more from him.
I know it was Kosovo, but his assist at the weekend was amazing. It was lovely. I could watch that all day. And
where he was going, really, did he? And then he found in an excellent position and did well to set the goal up.
Max is one of those players who doesn't look like he knows where he's going, but he does always seem to know where he's going. I say, Jamal was an interesting one, certainly in the sort of second phase or project restart last season, because he did look like one of the players whose confidence was really kind of hammered by the situation, because he really looked lost with the ball, and it did sort of, a lot of progress sort of seemed to stop with him a lot of the time, which was a shame because it just looked like a temporary issue. Will be interesting how he gets on at Newcastle, won't it, Ben? I know they've obviously the deal hasn't been confirmed yet, it's worth saying, but I'm expecting the medical to take place today and it to be confirmed on Tuesday, because we're recording Monday lunchtime. So I expect this will all be confirmed probably on the day this podcast is out. Newcastle have confirmed today that they've spent 20 million quid on Callum Wilson, who I'm not convinced is quite the same player he was several years ago. They've obviously been in a funny position themselves. So just how Jamal gets on at Newcastle, I think we'll all be kind of keen to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to steal Dan's thunder, but Dan tweeted the other day about the type of work that Jamal will be expected to do in the final third. We know at Norwich what Daniel Farke wants his fullbacks to do and his attacking players to do in those situations is quite complex, and maybe Jamal has suffered a bit from that. Obviously, he's now going to be working under Steve Bruce, who is as a proper football man, is probably more inclined to have his fullbacks crossing a bit more. I confess I haven't done any actual research into that, but my sense is that Jamal will be asked to maybe play a slightly different role for Newcastle. It's interesting what you guys have said there about his attacking output being sort of unexpectedly inferior to his defending, given that he was previously a winger. I know, Michael, you did a really interesting piece comparing the seasons of Jamal Lewis and Max Aarons. I think it was just after the season finished on The Athletic. And if you look at the sort of kind of attacking metrics that were used in that piece, Max Aarons was quite a long way ahead of Jamal. I think it was expected goals from shot creation and ball progression, which, Michael, I'm sure you can tell me exactly how that is calculated.
I'll have to reread the piece first. And it was me and Tom Warville, who is our stats guru. We did do it together. I didn't just dump it on him and then stick my name on it, honestly. But it does feel like it was a long time ago. I mean, the really interesting thing for that piece was actually Sam Byram outshone them both in what was still a good chunk of the season that he played. So that lingers with me. I suppose the thing with Sam Byram is you just need to get him fit. And bearing in mind, he hasn't
that was his first real stint as a left back. Generally, he's a right back, which does bring us on to the cover. Of course, if and as and when Jamal is gone, we have Sam McCullum and Xavi Quintilla, who's got a little knock at the moment, but I don't think that's going to keep him out for too long. It'll be interesting who starts, obviously, at Huddersfield on Saturday. So Norwich are okay.
Well, it's a bit unknown, isn't it? I mean, Quintilla feels like someone who probably doesn't carry the ball as well as Jamal Lewis does, and that was one of Jamal Lewis's great strengths, is carrying the ball pretty rapidly as well. Whereas McCullum was definitely brought in with the reputation of being able to do, or to replicate that, is to take the ball forward, quite an attacking left back. And it feels like we've got best of both worlds, actually, because Quintilla feels like he's the more defensive minded. You're smiling at me, Mike, as if I pronounced that.
No, it's perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
Good to know.
And I did have a lengthy conversation with Hodgie about how to pronounce it, even though I did Spanish at school. But yeah.
Well, I mean, Ben did Spanish as well, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, sorry, Ben. I didn't know that. Go on, give us your pronunciation.
Xavi Quintilla.
Love it.
So Quintilla is the...
oh God, you've gone backwards there, Dan, in the space of 2 minutes.
And McCullum, which I'm pretty sure I've pronounced correctly, is the sort of more attacking wing back. But he's, 19? Quintilla has definitely come in not to sit on the bench, has he? So I think perhaps our approach will be slightly more defensive minded, especially considering how many goals we did ship last season in the Premier League.
Well, look, good luck to Jamal Lewis once it's all confirmed. We all wish him huge amounts of luck, and thank you for a fantastic 2.5 seasons. I'm yet to be convinced by Xavi Quintilla as I've seen him so far, but it's only pre-season, so why would I be convinced? And I think Sam McCullum is raw, but has a lot going for him and still very young. So it'd be interesting to see who gets the gigs and how they get on.
Fair to say it's weakened the side, doesn't it? It's weakened the starting 11, losing Jamal Lewis.
Oh, that's a deflation. But yes, I suppose if you're going to lose a 15 million quid.
Well, yeah, I think within all of this though, we're losing a really good player, which has kind of almost been lost in that we've got a good deal, yes, and this is how we work because we bring the young players through and sell them for good money, which is, as Ben pointed out, exactly what we're doing. But we are weakening the first 11 by letting him go.
Time
and I think I've criticised Jamal's attacking output. He did only score 2 goals, but 2 very memorable goals as well in the FA Cup against Chelsea, and then obviously that superb strike against Leicester in the Premier League when we all still had hope and dreams.
And freedom. Big game player. So there we go. Good luck, Jamal.